Hey, Podnutzians. Welcome to Android App Addicts, episode 536. This episode is brought to you by Matthew Fuzzle. Matthew Fuzzle, I'm pretty sure, is the most contributing Patreoner that we've ever had. I cannot thank Matthew enough because of his support and many others like you. I've been able to go to conferences, go to events, meet people, hang out with people, patron other people, buy gifts for people like a guy who's basically lost his entire everything in California fires. I bought him uh, a Chromebook and a couple other little pieces of hardware and some toys to play around to keep him busy. It's due to patrons like you. We here at Podnutz are able to support those who support us. So I definitely thank everyone for all their support. It is a solo show tonight while I preemptively mute my phone to make sure it doesn't go at all crazy during the show. My name is DoorToDoorGeek. Mark is feeling really bad. This is maybe the most stressful time of the year for him. He has a great many things going on. Kids always have things going on. And then he just is extra busy at work. This is a time of year where they definitely tax him seemingly a little bit more. And for those, let's say, who only can listen every now and then an episode, our other host Eric R. Ardini passed away um, almost a month ago to the day from a form of liver cancer. Even though he's passed away, he will not be forgotten. Number one, but his family definitely has bills that they have to try to deal with now that they have to deal with life without Eric. And as Podnutzians, we're all trying to do our part to help them through this time of their life. Just because Eric is not here anymore doesn't mean the bills go with him. So in the notes there is a link to the Go Fund Me. I'm really happy I was able to do a 24-hour live stream. We were able to get the total dollar amount over 10,000, which definitely makes me feel good. But I also know we can always do better than that. So if you can, I ask you to please support Eric and his family in their transition in life. Um, Really quick, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to jump to an email here. And for the live listeners, sorry, there will be occasional pauses and stuff while I get things straightened out, prepared for like the stream kind of thing. But the people listening live, you should listening through the RSS feed, you should have no issue. But I do want to say before I do that email, we got an email from Patreon, and it basically says, hello, creators. We received some reports from patrons who use the RSS feature that the new episodes are no longer coming into their podcast app. They insist, of course, they haven't changed anything, which I will say, being involved with RSS for 10 years, sometimes it's the app, sometimes it's the feed, sometimes it's just the internet acting funny. So if you are not getting new shows in your Patreon RSS feed for any content you get, whether it be Android App Addicts, Mini PC, or anybody else, they're asking that all you have to really do is delete the feed or unsubscribe and then just resubscribe again, and then everything should work fine. We're gonna start with his email because honestly, I haven't replied yet to him. Leaving it unread reminds me how important it is to bring to the show. So please don't take me not answering immediately, Tom, as anything less than just me wanting to be sure it got read on the show. It is from Tom Z. Hey, AAA team, long time. A huge fan from 2014. In the last 2 years, I had an iPhone and was sucked into iOS. 3 weeks ago, I got back to Android and bought a Redmi Note 7. Feels so good to be home again. Since I got this phone, I cannot stop tinkering, trying, investigating, and exploring Android again. God, I missed Android, and I'm glad I gave iPhone a chance because before that, I never owned one, but now I know where I belong. I started re-listening to AAA and am catching up. So sad to hear about Eric. We used to chat a lot about apps, Galaxy 3 firmwares, and whatnot. He will be missed. Anyway, wanted to let you guys know that the show is alive and kicking. We'll definitely reactivate my Patreon sub again. By the way, back in my days, ha ha ha, AAA had a Google Plus group. Where do you guys hang out these days? What's the best place recommended to chat with you and other listeners? Thanks for everything, Tom Z. First off, Tom, it's really good to see you. Two, thank you for the words to Eric. I do believe his family is still getting basically all the AAA emails because I'm still forwarding them to Eric's old email address. First, I'll say it is honestly very good for anybody to try alternate operating systems, whether it be Windows, Mac, Linux, iOS, whatever. If you don't try other operating systems, then you really don't understand the features that your operating systems have and doesn't have. So it's really eye opening. If you're a full time Windows user, I really do encourage you try for 3 months to use either Mac OS X or a Linux desktop. You'll have greater insight to your Windows desktop experience. Same thing with the Android thing. When you use iOS, you have greater understanding about how Android works and why certain things happen. I think it's funny that he was mentioning Galaxy 3 firmwares. Now in the Android verse, it is not common whatsoever to root and ROM devices, partially, I think, because Android is now so much more mature, is the way I'll put it. The Redmi Note 7, I want to say is an Oppo device. Let's do a quick Google search, and let's see. I will say this is basically like a version of the Note, like the Samsung Note, but it's made by Xiaomi. Redmi Note, 6.3-inch screen, 6 gig of RAM, 4,000 milliamp battery. Oh my! 48 megapixel camera. Definitely looks like a good device. Android 9.0 running MyUI 10. I'm actually okay with MyUI is what I'll say. Um, Definitely looks like it has really good specs. Even though it has a humongous screen, I really hope the 4,000 milliamp battery actually does last for you, Todd. That's what I'll say. Um, there was yeah, I and seriously, Todd, a month or two, ping me and let me know what you think about that device because it is a very, very good looking device. If you can jump back on the Patreon, thank you. Trust me, thank you. And between us and everyone listening, I tried to approach Patreon now 3 or 4 times. I'm never getting any positive responses from that. Is what I want to say. Would like to basically combine all of the Podnutz Patrons into a single Patreon. It was very foolish of me in hindsight to have Android App Addicts, Mini PC, the makers, and then just a general Podnutz Patreon. It makes it much more difficult to manage, makes it 4 times more difficult to manage, 4 times more difficult to log in and post updates into each one, 4 times more difficult to hold conversations in the Patreon. So I might start migrating all the Patreons into one only because Android App Addicts right now has the highest number of people involved. I might try to look at if I can change the URL and rebrand that one and make that one the one and only Patreon, but that won't happen for months at the best case. Um, Now Google Plus is gone. Okay. Super quick diatribe. I'm older. I'm scorn. I've seen a lot. I've seen Gopher. I've seen Sailor. I've seen Lynx. I've seen Friendster. I've seen MySpace. I've seen all these things evolve and come and go and come and go and come and go. Um, I'm only going to now invest my time. I'm only now going to invest my content. I'm only going to now invest my relationships, my digital relationships, if you will, on a platform that I feel confident that if I today fall into a coma, wake up in 10 years, will still be around in 10 years. And I don't feel confident about MeWe. that it will be around in 10 years. I don't think Twitter will be around in 10 years, and I'll be shocked if Facebook is remotely around in 10 years. I'm sure Instagram will or some form of messenger will, but I don't think any of them will. The only thing I feel confident that will be around in 10 years, unfortunately, is email, IRC, and Reddit are the three places I can tell you where I think it's going to still be around. Um, I will tell you, no place where I'm at right now is seeing anywhere close to the amount of traffic we were getting on Google Plus. We have a Mattermost server, which is like a Slack, a visual channel chat application. We have an instance of that running at mm.podnutz.com. You have to send me an email if you want to invite to that. It's not active. You know, maybe 3 of us will spend, 30 minutes a week chatting on it at the most. On, Discord, we have a server as well, partially because Patreon kinda pushed me towards that. There's, like, 2 or 3 of us on there, which again, like, 20 minutes a week, maybe we're active on that. Um, IRC always exists. The problem with IRC is unless you have an IRC bot running 24/7. When you log in, everything that happened before you logged in that day is gone forever. You'll never get it back again. So I'm really honestly tempted to do like an email list. We are on Reddit, at least me and Ivor are on Reddit. I don't know who else is. Reddit.com/r/podnuts. We're there. If you know of anything that you listener think me and everyone else should be on, don't hesitate to say something. Quite literally, if we get 100 emails in this next week saying we have to go on Facebook and start a group, I will start a alias account in a work profile on my device with a fake name, and we will be on Facebook. It's just something I won't invest my personal being on, is what I'll say. But it's good to hear from you, Tom. I hope everything's going well with you. And don't think of your iOS experience as necessarily a bad thing, is what I'll say. It just is a thing. Um, we're gonna jump right into some news headlines here in 1 second. And I am watching the YouTube chat and the IRC chat again. Thursday nights live, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the time we always go live. So you can always join us. And if you want to follow us on twitter.com/podnuts, we announce all shows being published, and we try to announce when shows go live on there as well. So there's an easy way to keep track of it. Or you could simply find us on YouTube and click subscribe and smash that bell and hit the other things that the YouTubers can't stop saying. Like all the YouTubers that need hair buns, those kind of people. And yes, without Eric here, I'm enjoying a beer on his behalf. Okay. There's been more than a couple Google things happening in the last couple weeks. We have Google I/O coming on. I do believe this is the time of year where Google tries to do things that they really don't want you to talk about too much because they have Google I/O coming up and they want you to more focus on that. So here's one of the things I think that they announced, but I think if this was announced 2 or 3 years ago, we would think differently. But I think we, the normal um, person, I think is a little bit more educated now. Uh, and it is basically announcing that Google will soon allow users to auto delete location history and search data. You're going to be able to automatically set 2 different options. I believe one option is it will delete your location and personal data after 90 days. And I think the second option is they will let you delete it after 180 days. Um, to which I'll say, so what? It doesn't matter. Um, they've already made all their money off of you. They've already taken all your money, all your data, a um, anonymized it, transmutated it into different forms, and put it in large data sets that they use for trend analysis and for marketing insight kind of thing. Um, so allowing users to opt in to deleting data after 90 days or 180 days Um, I don't think it's very impressive. I don't think it's very nice. I think it's them trying to like give an offer of goodwill, trying to give the impression that they're the good guys here. Um, and I mean, I for one, I am not buying it whatsoever. It's fine that they're doing it. It isn't bad that they're doing it, but the fact that they're doing it with such large time frames, I think it's actually disin disingenuous, and it's something that I'm really not uh, happy about. Is what I'll say. Uh, okay. Next thing, they always say these things are leaks. I will say I agree with Mark. None of these things are leaked. These are very planned, very purposeful, uh, loosening of the belt to get some data out to try to get some spin to be on there. And I will say to YouTube chat, BW Electronics, I will say if you ping me on Twitter, I always have Twitter loaded and I will always answer. I always will reply. I will try to respond. Sometimes I got to load the Twitter app like once a day or else I don't get the notifications. I'm there. I just don't know. I'm still not convinced I should be posting to it. And then you have stuff like Mastodon, which is really just GNU Social, which is really just something else before that, which is really just something else before that. They've just died on the vine and they refactor the code and they call it something else. I'm not. I don't like limiting text. Every time I'm on Twitter and somebody asks me a question, I always go over the character limit because that's how I am. Here's the next quote unquote leak. Pixel 3a is going to be announced at this Google I/O, and they're saying the price will be $399 and up, which I will say is fine with the Pixel 3a XL coming in at $479. Okay, I honestly have very mixed feelings about this. If you just look at their other devices, and if you look at the Samsung S10s, and if you look at the iPhone, whatevers, these are good prices. These are fair prices. These are modest prices. If you are at all educated on phones whatsoever, these aren't great prices. These are fine prices. These are almost normal prices. None of them are good prices. I will say, both are gonna come with 64 gigs of storage. That's slightly above average. I will say that. The high end, 128 gigs of storage. If you need 128 gigs of storage, then congratulations. You'll have the availability to do it. Um, the one's gonna have the, I believe they're both gonna have the Snapdragon 670 processor. 600 is definitely an older series of processors, but I'm going to take for granted it's a higher optimized older processor, which will give you fan diddly tastic, and I did say fan diddly tastic battery life. Okay, so I think that's going to be an actual good part about it with good performance, not great performance, but good performance. 4 gigs of RAM in 2019, 4 gigs of RAM is almost not enough compared to other phones, but for the price, I'm gonna still say, "Okay, fine, fair, I'll take it." 12 megapixel rear camera, I don't care about megapixels. We should know now they mean nothing, almost nothing. 3,000 milliamp battery, I'm literally disappointed at the battery. I'm literally disappointed by the battery. That's a battery from 2016. That's pathetic, just about. With all those numbers and all those stats and all that dollars said, I would never buy this device. Okay, ever. Period. Done. Not. Way too much. This is literally like a 280, maybe a $300 phone, not a $399 phone. But if this device can take pictures as good as the normal Pixel devices, is what I'll say. And if you like taking pictures at all, then I think 399 is almost a deal. If you really do enjoy taking good pictures, if you really do like taking pictures, and if you really do uh, want the higher, better looking pictures, I think it's going to be a little difficult to beat $399 with the high quality pictures that I'm going to honestly expect this phone's gonna produce. So if you're at all a camera person or a picture person, not a selfie person per se, but a picture person, just a picture person, then I would take a hard look at this Pixel 3a and the Pixel 3a XL because it's gonna, in all expectations, do really good pictures, do really clean pictures, do really sharp pictures, and do good, contrast, good low light, good motion, good all of that. So that should be something good coming out of Google I/O this year. And the big rumor is the people who go to Google I/O this year, you're going to get a Pixel 3a or 3XL phone, 3a XL phone, which is fine. They can afford it. Um, quick side tangent, Google Pixel devices, a couple of the articles out there. And here's the difference between journalists and real people. Okay. Journalists only have experience doing journalism. Okay. It's kind of like asking a auto mechanic about your HVAC unit. I mean, sure, they're going to be able to tell you some level of insight. There's no doubt, but they're not going to understand all the little parts of it, all the way that things work together. They're just not going to know it. They just can't know it. Okay. Um, a journalist, more than a couple journalists, put out articles saying how the Pixel 3s sold so much worse than the Pixels 2s, and it was basically insulting Google about it. Here's how journalists are actually really stupid and really manipulative with clickbaitingness. Because only one or two articles I saw actually mentioned the actual fact behind it. The Google Pixel 2 series versus the Google Pixel 3 series, the price shot up a good amount, over 20%. Over 20%. The amount of sales for Google Pixel 3 devices went down. But if you actually have a brain and you actually look at what the overall profit margin is and what the overall numbers are, it looks like Google actually made more money off the Pixel 3 than they did the Pixel 2. And as a shareholder, as a stockholder, as a corporation, as a business in the free market of the world, your only goal is to make money. And they made more money with the Pixel 3. So to try to insult Google by saying how they sold less with the Pixel 3, it being a disappointment kind of thing, just shows your unbelievable in a lack of understanding of the real world and your only understanding of manipulative clickbait articles. I really do encourage people. We need to find a way to basically shame all websites for all clickbaity kind of taglines and article headings, whether they be bloggers, whether they be enthusiasts, or whether they be journalists, or whether they be elected officials. Clickbaity stuff should not be allowed. We should not put up with, is my logic. Next thing I saw was actually from last week, and I did find this, to be honest, interesting. It's only a matter of time before I get a EV or a electric vehicle. Because I travel slightly more than average Americans distance, slightly more than average Americans time every day going back and forth to work. So the logic is if I can save money in that trip, it will help me exponentially more because I do it more than the average. So it's only a matter of time before I get some kind of EV just to try to get some kind of cost savings. And the one thing that I will say is cool is Google announced that basically Google Maps now will tell you if an EV charging station is in use. Um, because with those vehicles, you literally have to leave it on the charger sometimes for hours, depending on the vehicle, to get a worthwhile charge versus a gas pump. You just walk up and 3 minutes later you're like full. Being able to know ahead of time if you get to that charging station and it's not in use will help with sanity a great deal, is what I'll say. Even if I get a EV tomorrow, hypothetically, I still don't see myself as a family man taking it on a trip as like a family vehicle or any place out of the way for probably 2 or 3 years. I can only see myself using it back and forth as a work vehicle, and that's about it. But I do like the fact that Google is allowing that integration right into Google Maps, to where you can see if that charging station is available or not. Um, do a quick check for another email. Oh, we do have another email, and man, these are the kind of emails that get me. Um, like they hit me right in that spot, not just any spot, like a chicken spot kind of thing, a liver spot kind of thing. Um, this is from Scott, and Scott said, "Just a courtesy note. It's not voila, it's V at the beginning. It's French." Then he gives me a waywordradio.org voila versus voila. Cheers. And of course, I had to like ping him back, and I said, "Oh no, now." No, I said, "Damn it, my pronunciation sucks. My wife corrects me on voila all the time." He then replied, "Oh no, now I remind you of your wife. It is all downhill from here." To which I then reply back to him, "Oh, don't worry about it. That just means once in a while now I will ignore you." Which of course is a joke. But my pronunciation is really bad, and I do think that last week, even when I said voila, I right in the middle of saying it, heard myself saying voila, like Waluigi. I don't know. I don't know where that comes from. I don't know why that happens, except for I'm incompetent with words. Is the best thing I can say. Um, Here is another one that I will say definitely caught my eye. I almost put this on my laptop today, but then I remembered I had to try to do some editing on a show from last night, so I didn't get a chance to do it. Bliss OS, BLISSOS, over at xda-developers.com. They have a article wrote up. We in the Android enthusiast arena, I'll say, we've seen a great number, literally a great number of software applications that say that they will give you Android or Android-like experiences on x86 hardware. We've had like I always want to say Blue Coat. I can't remember what it was called. We had we had some that literally sat around for years swearing they got better. We had Android x86. We have more than a couple installable ones. This one says it's basically Android Pie for x86, and it comes with Google Play Store now. Um, Part of the difficult part, I'm going to say, is when you install Android on an x86 computer, the x86 computer might not have the hardware and sensors that Android expects, like a compass, like a magnetometer, like a gyroscope, like a front camera, like a back camera, like a touch screen, and keep going, all these different things. So sometimes when you try to install Android on a regular laptop, desktop, you don't get a good experience, or apps literally go crash crazy. I will say it has definitely gotten better over the years. It's still not, in my opinion, great, but I will say Remix OS by Jide was the one that I thought came really close to being really solid, but it was a optimized, customized version of Android. Um, Looking at videos of this and looking at screenshots of this, I will say it does look good. They do say that this is a ongoing project. It isn't brand new. It's been going on for a while. They've definitely been doing updates. They've gotten a lot more stable in this latest version. So if you want to play with a open source version, in air quotes, version of Android, check out Bliss OS, blissroms.com. They have like your old school the ROMs where you can try to put onto, phones, and, if you want, you can, honestly pay them for it, which I'll tell you right now, if you really want this to continue on and if you really want it to work very well with your device, pay the $10, download this, install it, and then start complaining to them and reminding them that you're a paying person. And I'm sure what you complain about will get more things done to them than just a regular person. They have a really full team, I will say that a really full team of people working on this. So I would really like it if this is the kind of thing that really could become popular again. Because I do believe sooner or later, when that fuchsia takes over, we're going to need somebody to pick up the mantle of Android and keep updating it for us, for people who don't necessarily want to go to another operating system. What I'm gonna talk about next is like, if I had a sad trombone sound, if I would have planned a little bit better, I would have had a sad trombone sound. I will say I do believe this is the kind of thing Mark, when we talked about it, instantaneously shot down as being stupid. And I tried to, you know, but talk good about it. But then, very shortly after reading the specs, I just, there were, I wanted it to succeed, but I kind of knew it wasn't. And it is the Energizer uh, gi- gigantic battery phone, aka just ran out of juice. The P18K Energizer Power Max phone with an 18,000 milliamp battery barely got $15,000 out of its $1.2 million goal on Indiegogo. I'll say that again. They got just over $15,000 in their Indiegogo campaign where they were asking for $1.2 million. First off, you're asking for too much damn money. Second off, if you took a look at the specs for the phone, they went a little insane. Okay. I'm all for a huge brick like phone with USB C with a week plus battery life or whatever. I'm all for that. But they literally put in like a crazy high end screen, crazy high end storage, crazy high end RAM. They went a little bit overboard with all the specs. Everybody I know who wants a gigantic phone battery does not want 256 gigs of storage. They don't need 8 gigs of RAM. They don't need a 4K screen. So to put all those things in the device to me just made it unnecessarily expensive. I believe it was either 6 or $700. If you give me an 18,000 milliamp battery phone for $300, $350 with modest normal specs, I would have went out of my way to try to support them. But because of the specs they were offering and the price they were mentioning, I just said to myself, self, this is the kind of thing that I just cannot get behind and I cannot support, partially because I kind of knew it wasn't going to be successful. Um, Turns out it was a French-based hardware company, which I had no idea there was even a French-based hardware company doing phones, but apparently it was a French-based company they got to do this device, and they've done Energizer phones in the past, which I didn't know either. Um, we just don't see them, I guess, here in the US. So goodbye, Energizer P18K Power Max phone. Hopefully, you don't take this as a failure. Hopefully, you take this as a learning exercise, and maybe later this year, you'll come out with a smarter device with more modest specs. Okay. What we have next, and I'm literally bringing this, I'm not just teasing this, I'm not just trolling anybody by bringing this. Okay. But Motorola's vertical folding razor shown in leaked renders. Okay, so you can see it. I mean, it's not easy to see, is what I'm going to say. None of the renders make it really super easy to see. It's not great images, is what I want to say. Um, just think of your old school razor phone, But when you open it up, the entire face is a screen, and then you close it. Okay, here's the gist of it. You have your normal size phone. Just for the devil's advocate, think of your normal size phone. And then when you're done with it, it folds in half. So it becomes twice as short. Now almost normal thickness, just a little bit thicker than your normal thickness. Wouldn't it fit much easier in your pocket? I think it would. Would you have to worry about screen protectors as much? You might not. Um, I like the I oh man, I'm gonna say it. I almost like the idea of this phone. I never had a Motorola RAZR before in my life, but if they here's the real kicker, and if anything, the Energizer P18K should have just taught us this. If they market this device at the right price, it doesn't have to be a spectacular knockout. It doesn't have to have spectacular X, Y, or Z. If they market it at the right price and it works, and you can open it and you can close it, and you can open it and you can close it, and it doesn't break, this might be the black sheep of the folding phone. This Razor phone might be the 2019 phone of the year kind of thing because if they're able to get this thing to come out, if it is able to do what it says it can do, have the fold on the inside of the screen kind of thing, and if they do it at a proper price, don't be shocked if this thing sells like gangbusters. I'll just say that. They're saying it's going to be $1,500. $1,500. Okay, so we got to take this. Let's hop over here. Let's say calculator because I can't count. 1,500 divided by 24. That's 62 extra dollars a month unless the phone is subsidized. They're going to have to literally bring that price down to eight or $900 is what I'm going to say. Let's say 800. Now let's say $900 divided by 24, $37 a month. They're gonna have to get that thing below $1,000 in my opinion, or after subsidies and after monthly things come into play. If they can get that thing down below $50 a month, I think it actually might be the black sheep of the folding phone and might come from behind and just smack everybody. I don't know. I will say I would like Motorola to do something good. Their E's and their G phones are fine. They're fine. They're economical. They work, but I don't think they're great devices. I think they're very fine devices. I would like them to make a device that people consider great just to shake it up, just to be competitive, just to, you know, keep up with all the other companies out there. That would be a pleasant change of pace, in my opinion. Okay, we're gonna go to apps now. At least a couple apps here. Um, This one I actually did hear about on more than a couple of shows. And without sounding dumb, this is the exact kind of app I would have sent to Eric and he would have immediately installed and we would have definitely played with and we would have seen, is this app for real? Because this seems a little bit like mysticism. It seems like, are you sure this can do this? It's called Lightbeam Screen Sharing by Lightbeam, marked as a social app. E for everyone, 36 reviews, completely free to download. No ads, no in-app purchases. That seems rare to me. 4.6 average reviews, again 36 total reviews. Updated April 17th, 2019. 31 megs in size, 1000 plus installs. Current version 1.0.2 requires Android 5.0 and up. That to me is also shocking. You only need 5.0 and up. That is actually pretty fantastic. What this app says it can do is you can set up, I believe it's only a one on one chat. I could be mistaken, but you can basically share your screen. What they really want you to do is to show your selfie cam and show your screen to the other party, and they can do the same. And you can basically look around and you can hypothetically say to somebody, I'm shopping for these glasses. How do you think these glasses look? Have you ever seen this website? Bum, 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 bum. Good example. last week. If you would have tried to explain to somebody, go to Google, type in Thanos, wait for it to load, wait a little bit longer, tap the glove and watch what happens. And if they keep responding back, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. But then you could have said, okay, well, install this application, Lightbeam, and then bam, you connect with them. You say, okay, now watch my screen. And you could literally live show them the Thanos glove clicking and then the half of the stuff on the page disappearing, which I will say that was genius. Okay. I'm not a fan of the movie whatsoever. I'm a fan of Josh Brolin. I'm not going to lie. Um, that was just a genius Google thing to do. Um, This app, I will say right now, could be unbelievably useful, especially I'll say in the realm of tech support. And I hate saying it like that, but if you know somebody, a relative, a loved one, or just somebody you know that needs help once in a while on Android to get things done, and they don't know how to do it, and you would like to help them know how to do it, literally just have them install Lightbeam. And then you could be able to very easily, in air quotes, remote into their device, see their screen, and tell them what to do. Sometimes telling the other people what to do, they'll actually learn it much quicker than you just telling them what to do, and then just hoping they get it right, or just clicking it for them. If you actually you know have them do it with instructions, they actually might learn a little bit better. Um, yeah, I will say I really do like phones with bigger screens as well as Swift in the IRC chat. Personally, I want a 7-inch phone because I don't care how dumb I look holding it. And I also have a T Laswell. Give me a skin that looks like an old school flip razor. I will say this: that's going to happen. That's going to happen. You open up that Motorola RAZR folding phone. You open it up, and when you hit the dialer, the bottom of it's going to look just like the old RAZR keypad because it has to. If they don't, they're doing something wrong. They're definitely doing something completely wrong. Yeah, Swift in the chat says he has a LG Stylo 4 6.2-inch screen. Nice. Slightly narrower phone, but also taller. Yeah, they've gotten with that as well. I will say taller phones do make it slightly more difficult to touch corners of the screen, but I think that's worth the trade-off. The app I'm going to bring next, yes, this is a repeat app, but it has a whole new material layout, material look, which just tells me they're getting ready to do something completely different than material. Because if they updated this app, it must be close to the end of life for material. And this is Google Opinion Rewards, Google LLC, tools, E for everyone, completely free to install, no in-app ads, no in-app purchases, 830,000 reviews. Of course, this is a editor's choice. Average reviews 4.0. I have no idea why it's only 4.0. Updated May 2nd, 2019. Yep, today. 8.3 megs is the size of it. 10 million plus installs. Current version, way too long to mention, requires 4.1 Android and up, which is fandiddly-tastic. Offered by Google LLC, official Google app. If you are tired of giving up your information and getting what you perceive as nothing in return, we all know you get something in return. You get a little bit of convenience, you get a little bit of accessibility, you get a little bit of functionality. But if you want cold hard cash, I'm sorry I can't give it to you, but I can guarantee you Google Play credit money. So it's Google money. Think of it like Monopoly money, only you will be able to spend it someplace. You'll be able to spend it on the Google Play Store to either rent movies, buy apps, buy ebooks, or those kinds of things. Basically, you just load the app, give it access to your low low location settings, Um, I'll say this, if your job involves you driving around at all, especially if you're like a mailman is what I wanna say. If you're a mailman and you gotta deliver to business parks, oh, you install this, I guarantee you, you're gonna make like $5 a week because every time you walk to the door of a business, Google's going to think you visited the business and they're going to keep asking you questions about the business. The number one thing I can tell you though is don't lie. Don't you lie because Google will once in a while throw out a question that they know the answer to, seeing if you will lie to them. Because if you do lie to them, they will like soft ban you for, I believe, at least a couple weeks and not ask you any questions. So always tell the truth to your Google overlords, and you will be rewarded with Google Play money. I always now have at least like $5 in the call for ready to spend. Once in a while, I rent a movie for the wife or the kids. They have a really good time watching it. Hey, Ghetto Geek in the YouTube chat. Good to see you. Yeah, I more often now use my Google Opinion rewards money to rent movies for the kids. Uh, Partially because they've been doing better in school. When they do better in school, I'm not opposed to giving them gifts once in a while. Um, this next app is the kind of app I'm literally only mentioning to make sure it's been documented. Okay, seriously, I'm not gonna lie. At least a third of the apps I bring to the show so I can always say to myself, self, what was that application? Oh, I know it should be in the app spreadsheet or it'll be in the app notes. So it makes it easier for me to find this kind of stuff in the future. This app is called Airtable, Airtable Productivity E for everyone. 809 reviews, completely free to download, no in-app ads, no in-app purchases. If you haven't noticed by now, I like it when apps don't even have in-app purchases because then upfront you know what you're going to pay. I like it when they also don't have in-app ads because then you know the real estate on the screen is going to be optimized for your experience, not to display ads. Um, 3.9 average reviews. Updated February 20th, 2019, 13 megs in size, 100,000 plus installs. Current version 1.2.5. You have to have 5.0 Android and up. What's new? For instance, they have a barcode scanner fix, which I will say that was one of the things that did catch my eye. Barcode scanner. This is basically, think of it as a database wizard is the best way I can put it. Here's here's the other way I kind of describe these kinds of applications, these classes of applications. If you use Linux whatsoever, you should realize you can do anything with any version of Linux. But what you should really do is find what kind of Linux is closest to matching your specific needs. Then you load that Linux, then you have to do the least amount of work to get what you want out of it. This is basically a database organization, calculation, record keeping, dynamic spreadsheet like application, but it has a whole bunch of preset types built right into it that make it much easier for you to get at least a database started or a list started in like any shape, way, or form is what I'll say. Even if it's just a calendaring type database and you want to record things. And the idea that they have barcode scanners involved, to me, I want to be able to now, I'm going to try this and try to scan the things that I eat, at least the things that are scannable that I eat, and see if I can record what I'm eating that way. Because I'm always looking for other ways that I can help record that kind of stuff throughout the day. Um, I cannot encourage people enough. If you want customized record keeping, I think this might be really worthwhile to check out. Again, it is called Airtable. Um, honestly, I think it looks pretty good. I think it's probably worth your time if you're one of those people who want to do a dynamic list, a dynamic database. You don't want to have to create it from scratch. Um, You want to be able to just click in it and just, pick one of the category types and just start going. Here's some of the types they have. They have a project management template. They they vacation planning, event management, sales lead tracking, to do list, CRM, which is customer relation management, expense tracking, asset management, inventory management, product catalog, PR, communications, wedding planning, and team coordination. I honestly really like the idea of this one. This is the kind of app I really would like to find a use for, is what I'm going to say. I would like to find a use for. Um, this next app, this is the kind of app I'm never going to use. I ain't going to lie, but I can see this actually being quite useful to people who are definitely audio focused. Me, I listen to 24 hours of podcast a day. That's my form of audio, but this is for the other kind of audio focused people. It is called Endel, from Endel Sound GmbH, which is the, I want to say British, but now I think German, British version of corporation. Health and fitness E for everyone, does have in-app purchases, completely free to download, no in-app ads. Updated May 2nd, 2019. Size depends on the device. 10,000 plus installs. Version varies with device. Android version varies with device. Oh my lord. In-app purchases from $5.49 to $94.99. Oh my. Um, okay, what this is basically, if you require background noise to do anything, this might be the app for you. What it tries to do, it tries to have different modes of audio, whether you want focus mode of audio, relax mode of audio, sleep mode of audio. There's a bunch of different personalization type settings. So if you're the kind of person that, in my opinion, cannot stand silence, you always need something playing in the background, or you really like the idea of like having white noise, relaxing type sounds, but you can customize them to what you want. This literally might be the app you need to check out. To be honest, it doesn't look like a bad app at all. It actually looks like a good app. So I definitely encourage people to check this one out. Um, Next one I'm going to bring is really just a web page with a bunch of apps on it, and it's because I haven't had the time to go through all these apps. This is on lifewire.com, which I'm pretty sure you really should have an ad blocker on if you go to this website. But okay, top 3D printer apps for desktop and mobile users. I loaded this page up expecting just to see Printoid. Printoid is the premium Octoprint interface for Android. You take a Raspberry Pi, you install Printoid or Octoprint on it. You connect that to your 3D printer via USB. Then you load up Printoid and you connect that Raspberry Pi, and you get an unbelievably polished interface to your 3D printer where you can control anything, do anything, record time lapses, blah, blah. You can do anything on it. But I was pleasantly surprised. There's more than a couple apps that I never heard of. One of them is just called 3D printer um, apps for Android. It's literally just a marketplace of other apps for Android. Um, Let me see if I can find at least the one. There was a STL viewer. Yeah, see, this is not looking good. When I was on mobile, I was able to find these apps much easier. There's an Autodesk Fusion 360, literally Fusion 360 for your device. Tinkercad is another one that you can put on your device. Where's the one? Uh, I'll have to go through. Oh yeah, G Code Simulator and G Code Info were the two I thought were really cool. Um, in the 3D printer world, you download STL files is the main type you seem to download, and it allows you to view and see what the file looks like. G code is what the end product is what gets sent to your printer. if you don't have a G code viewer, you're not really sure if this is the right G code you're loading. So to have a G code viewer app on your phone, it makes it much easier to verify, oh, this print has what I'm going to print, but it has it rotated 90 degrees and it has full supports built in. So if you do a G code viewer app, you'll be much more confident with what you're printing. Um, this is now going to be like the empty the tank part of the show. Okay. Next, I'm always looking now for alternative news sources. And by alternative news sources, I mean not your standard ones, not your CNNs, not your NPRs, not your BBCs, not your PBSs, not your register.co's, not any of those things. So I found this one, Smart News breaking news headline. I haven't had a chance to do what's called lateral searching. I'll tell you what that is at the end of the show. Smart. So I don't know who's behind this yet. Smart News breaking news headlines by Smart News Inc. News and magazines. E for everyone. 306,000 reviews. It does contain ads, of course, because it's news. They always contain ads. Completely free to download. No in-app purchases. 4.2 average reviews. Um, Current version, I'm sorry, updated April 23rd, 2019. Size is only 6 megs. Installs 10 million installs. Version 5.4.4. Only need Android 4.0 and up. Um, the other thing I liked about this one was it looked pretty easy to actually customize your news and say you want to prioritize, for instance, science news, and you're not interested in sports news, for instance. Or you can say, give me the local news to Chicago. I was born in Chicago. I want to know about Chicago. So you can say, show me all of their news. Or you could say, you know, show me all the local news for Paris because you want to know about what's going on with the yellow vest protesters or whatever. Um, so I definitely like the idea of customizing at least my streams and feeds and looking for, competition to the normal Google, Facebook type of news delivery type stuff. Oh, it's showing you. Oh, that's why, because I'm an idiot. Maybe. Uh, which one is it showing? Why is my background blank? Okay, so let me try this. Bang, 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 bang. No. So that's Firefox. Okay, let me try this again. Wow. Okay, so I'm just gonna try to brute force it then. And we're gonna say this. Okay. Endel, Best 3D, Smart News. Come over here. Page. Web page. Unlock. Double click. There you go. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know why, but my screen decided to lock in on the YouTube uh, being shown for some reason. But there's smart news, breaking news headlines. I'll just say this. I'm going to find out if it's actually like, trustworthy, reputable, or not. I will say it does try to bring in articles from all sources, whether it be NBC, MSNBC, USA Today, Time, the Huffington Post, Bleacher Report, Quartz, The Verge, Vice, Fox, AP, Rutgers, BuzzFeed, Fast Company, and more. There's many, 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 many more news sources than just that. So I really hope they bring in from many, 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 many more sources than just that. Okay, next, I know we typically aren't weather app fans is the way that I'll put it. So let's see if this YouTube video breaks it again. Um, but this app was just to me different enough looking that I thought this could be pretty cool. Um, it basically has like a circle type weather interface on it, which is basically like a 24-hour clock. It uses a lot of color coding, a lot of highlighting, a lot of hue in order to differentiate, what it's like. So you can easily see at what is the temperature going to be at 9 o'clock at night, what's the temperature going to be at 6 o'clock at night, or you can even say, show me what the wind speed is going to be at these times, or what is the cloud cover going to be like at these point in times, or what's the precipitation going to be at this time, aka a whole bunch of different types of things you can show in that wheel type format, including of course your standard 7-day type forecast. um this was just different enough, I will say. I found really interesting, and here's the other part I found really interesting. You're able to connect it with your calendar. So if you literally have, hypothetically, your kid's baseball game to go to, and then you're going to go see Avengers Endgame, you can, this weekend, you can literally move forward in the calendar or in the weather app to this weekend, and it will show you the forecast, and it will highlight those two events in your calendar right into the weather app. I thought that was actually genius. I know of no other weather app that does it. So just because of that one feature alone, I will tell you this might be worth checking out. And of course, it has the full radar. Who doesn't like looking at the radar? I don't know. But it's called Atmosphere Weather by Concept Elements LLC, under the weather category. E for everyone, 47 reviews. Does have in-app purchases, and it does have ads. Again, completely free to download. 4.0 average reviews. Updated May 2nd, 2019. 7.2 megs in size. That's tiny. 1,000 plus installs. Current version 2.6.0. You need Android 4.4 or newer. Um, In-app purchases is $3.99, and I do believe that was a one-time purchase. $3.99. So honestly, if this is the kind of thing where you dictate your life in your calendar and you have outdoor events that you have to be aware of what that weather's going to be like, um, this is really, really a convenient app. And I'm not a weather guy, but yeah, I definitely thought that was cool. Uh, Next, I brought a couple of these in the past. This is a mind mapping application, and yeah, Get a Geek says it's definitely good for um, photo photographers, and I can see why. You always want to know when there's good sunlight out. This is a mind mapping application called Mindz, Mindz, and it ends with a Z. So I'm going to like it, right? Yeah. Mindz, mind mapping free by Birch Productivity app. 2 reviews, E for everyone. Um, Completely free. Current updated May 1st, 2019. Size 5.5 megs. Uh, 100 plus installs. Current version 0.5.2. You only need Android 4.4 and up. The only way I can explain mind mapping to someone is think of it as a brainstorming documentation tool. You get either a concept or an idea or something in your head, and your real only goal is to write it down. But with mind mapping, it also gives you interesting ways to connect information. Hypothetically, I want to start a sports league for my kid. I'm going to need to document all the things that are going to have to happen. I can make a map of all the things that need to happen, I think, in chronological order. And I think, well, before I get the uniforms, we have to decide on the colors. Before we decide on the colors, let's try to think of the names of the team. Before we think of the names of the team, let's try to think how many teams so it will let you better document things that you're trying to flush out in your head kind of thing. Um, I've used mind mapping applications successfully like once or twice in the past at work when we wanted to do what I considered to be single person bigger projects. Something was very kind of difficult for an individual to do, a little bit easier for a group of people to do, but I was working by myself. So I use these kind of apps to install. Um, right now, this application is so beta. It basically says it's not compatible with any of my devices, uh, devices. But again, it only has 2 reviews. Um, only has 100 plus installs. So if you like the idea of mind mapping applications, go ahead and bookmark this. It will come online. It might take a week or two, but it will come online as a downloadable app. Next one I wanted to bring. Um, you know, I know people out there need list apps. I'm not one of those people. But I know you have Google Keep, you have Wunderlist, you have all these other applications. Competition is good. I definitely encourage people who are fan of list applications, check out this one. It's called Any List, Grocery Shopping List and Recipe Manager. Any List Productivity, E for everyone, 5 reviews, does have in-app purchases, no in-app ads, free to download and installs. Current review score 4.6, updated April 29th, 2019, 17 megs in size, 50,000 plus installs. Current version 1.0. You need 4.4 Android and up. Um, Obviously, once you hear the full description of the app, Any List, Grocery Shopping, and Recipe Manager, you know why I pinged this application. Um, I'm not a huge fan of list taking. I will say I need to keep slightly better, accurate records of my recipes, what I'm eating, and how much is going into the recipe. Um, it's definitely harder to then realize how much I'm eating versus the recipe because you always got to guess. I'm going to say slightly under 50% tonight, maybe over 60% tomorrow night kind of thing. Because I would like to know what I'm eating and what some of the numbers are. So I like the idea of having a recipe focused list application. Of course, it has stuff like a built in calendar. Um, because of that, I'm going to definitely install this app and try to use it. And I will say, if you're trying to keep better track of what you're eating, this really might be worth your time. Again, it's called Any List, Grocery Shopping List and Recipe Manager. And last but not least, this one is coming from the reddit.com/r/podnutz. And I believe this is pronounced Specky Sinclair X I'm sorry, Sinclair ZX emulator, Specky Sinclair ZX emulator, Garage Research emulators, arcade category, E for everyone, 334 reviews, no in-app ads, no in-app purchases, $3.99 to download and install, 4.4 average reviews, updated April 29th, 2019, 2.5 megs in size, 5,000 plus installs, current version 5.1.4. You only need Android 2.3 and up. That's fantastic. And it is eligible for the family plan. So 5,000 plus installs for a $4 app is actually pretty good numbers. The Sinclair ZX was basically one of those computers from back in the, I'm going to say 80s, that were really much, much, much more popular in the UK, not as popular in the US. But if you want to see the kind of stuff that they had available to them, I will tell you this right now. If I was a kid back then and I knew this computer existed, oh, you betcha, I would have tried to get this computer because these games looked like back in the day, they would have been really fun, really interesting. Of course, compared to today's, you know, it's going to be hard for them to be amazing. I will say on a phone, I don't know if this screen would be big enough. Because you remember you were expected to be looking at least like a 10, or at least a 13-inch screen is what I'm going to say. So on a tablet, this might actually be really, really cool, is what I'm going to say. Again, $3.99. I honestly think it's a fair price, $3.99 for Specky Sinclair ZX emulator. Okay. I went through all the articles. I went through all the apps. I'm really shocked I was able to do that. Um, okay, let's do a quick rundown here. Um, in the notes, we're going to have links to Mark's picture of the week. I don't think I remember seeing him making something this week, which I'm going to call him out on next week. Then we have Google allowing users to auto delete location history. We have the Pixel 3a and 3a XL information, Google Maps and EV charging. We then have Bliss ROMs. We have the Energizer failing phone. We have the Motorola leak of their renders of their folding RAZR phone. Then we have Lightbeam screen sharing. We have Google Opinion rewards. After that, we have Airtable. Then we have Endel. After that, we have the best 3D printer apps for desktops and mobile users. Then we have SmartNews, breaking news headlines. After that, atmosphere or weather. Then we have Mindz, MINDZ, mind mapping free. After that, any list, grocery shopping list and recipe manager. And last but not least, we have Specky, Sinclair ZX emulator. I will definitely thank everyone for their support. I will thank everyone for coming out. And do not forget, email us, aaa at podnuts.com. And you can send us a voicemail at 7076 Podnut. And I literally forgot. I have in my hands a completely unopened, fresh from the factory, if you will, um, Google Home Mini in a box. Just announcing it this week. You'll have more than a couple weeks. Um, Send us an email. I don't care what the email is about. I don't care if it's a funny story about something with you and Android. I don't care if it's a story about when you first saw the fifth element and you thought it was awesome. I don't care if it's um, a story about Eric that you think is cool. Um, I don't care what it is. Uh, Basically, anybody who sends us an email or a informative tweet or something like that is what I'm going to say. You can't just ping me and say at DoorToDoorGeek free Google Home Mini. No, that's not an entry. I want like a genuine piece of communication. Just send it into aaa at podnuts.com is the easiest way, and you will be automatically entered into the contest. I don't care where you live. I don't care if you live in Antarctica. I'll send it there. Um, and if not, I'll just buy you one and send it, buy one locally to you and send it to you. Um, so if you want to take part in that, all you do is send us an email. If you do send us a voicemail at 7076 Podnut and you want that to be considered a entry, you have to follow it up with an email and give me contact information of how to get in touch with you. Do not leave me your contact information on the voicemail because then everybody who listens to this show will hear it. So if you definitely want to hear, your hands on that Google Home Mini, aaa at podnuts.com, we will hook you up. Mark is definitely going to be off next week. I will try to do something next week on May the 9th. Definitely, again, if you want to hang out, May the 9th, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, come out, hang out. We'll have a good time. We'll chat. And if you have a suggestion for the show title when you watch live, definitely let me know. We will talk to everyone again real soon. Take it easy, everybody. Okay. Now, this is where Mark uses his imagination and he thinks of a good show title. Or not a show title. The lead in, which I'm not good at. Like whatsoever at all. Uh ooh, ooh, ooh. See, I don't care if the lead in is like clickbaity because that can be like that. Okay. This week on Android App Addicts, we talk about Google privacy, Google Pixel 3a leaks, Bliss ROMs, Motorola flip phones, and about 8 different applications. And Doors all by himself at the same time. Wow, this is going to be a train wreck. This week on Android App Addicts. See, I don't mind doing a little editing either. So stop. With truncate silence, that's the one thing about truncate silence. At any point in time, I can just stop talking. And then start talking again. And then with one click of a button, the entire audio file, all of that silence will be just deleted and disappeared with no effort whatsoever. I love it. Without truncate, if I didn't have truncate silence to do what I would consider proper audio editing for this, an hour and a half, I can't believe I didn't shut for about an hour and a half, whatever, an hour would take literally like 3 hours. But because I have an highly optimized workflow, is the way I put it, it takes about 10 minutes. Because, I'm not going to do all that work. Amplify. I got to de-amplify this one part though. Before I recorded, I accidentally tapped the mic. Reduce. Okay, now save it again. File export. Yep. Bang. Aug. Done. Export. Yep. I think that was actually a decent show. I can't believe I was able to talk that long straight without taking actually, like 30-second breaks here and there. Thank you guys for coming out. Really good to see you, Tim. Ghetto Geek Man, really good to see you. Hope everything's going good with you, man. Are you going through like flooding now, like crazy rain? Or I'm thinking that's actually farther northwest of you. Thank you very much. I don't want to call you BW Electronics. Makes it sound like I'm talking to a computer. But thank you very much. And Swift, always good to hear from you, man. And yes, Swift, we do have to hang out. This weekend, honestly, I got plans. I don't have very many physical friends. You know what I'm saying? Guy who I used to work with named Mike lives northwest Baltimore. Saturday night, I'm going to go over his house, watch some UFC, have a couple Yinglings, literally like 2 for the entire night, and just chat. You're red? How the hell am I? Oh, BW. I'm slow, red. Good to see you, red. Mm. And I will say, guys, I am going to go this year to TechCon Unplugged, Grand Rapids, Michigan. I think it's Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm gonna go there. The rabbit died. That's awfully dark. What rabbit? Somebody killed a rabbit? Yeah, Detroit River's overflowing. That's what I thought. Up by there, it's definitely wet this time of year. I mean, it's going crazy up there. Even Montreal was suffering from flooding. When I think Montreal, I don't think flooding. The rabbit died. I think that's some code word. Yeah. Doing a show without Eric is not going to be comfortable for a while. I have no problem saying that out loud. And yeah, Swift, we got to definitely find something, I will say. I love my wife and kids, but I insist to my wife, absence indeed makes the heart grow fonder. So I sometimes just tell her to get the hell out of the house. But sometimes it should be me who's getting out of the house, you know? Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ghetto Geek. You've been in that area for more than a couple years to know if it's normal or not. It ain't like you just moved there 2 years ago. Oh, ow, man. Shoulder. Yeah, I'll definitely PM you. I will say right now I don't wanna say stupid things because that's insulting everybody. I got things I gotta do with the family. Oh, joy. Okay, close. Okay. Without Mark here, I gotta make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, so let's first back up my audio file just in case the house goes boom. I will have a copy of this off-site. Because for all I know, in 2 minutes from now, my house is gonna catch fire. It could happen. 5:36, right? Yes, 5:36. Nextcloud, Android App Addicts, 5:36. Copy, paste, let that thing sync up. I'll say Nextcloud does seem quicker than OwnCloud. Even though it's painfully obvious they share a lot of the code. Okay, so that's synced up. Next, we have to start uploading the video to YouTube. So let's go YouTube dashboard. Ugh, man, some of that stuff. Upload video. We have to first name it correctly. I forgot. Don't give it the right name. It's like twice as much work when I'm done uploading it. So come here and say F2, copy up here, F2, paste, 536, enter. Okay, now select video, bang, 536. Okay, now we need the correct description, which is just as easy as this. Control C, Control V. Okay, now we need, oh, yeah. We need to document the apps. Oh, yeah. That's so much fun. I love to document all the apps. Nothing makes me happier than documenting the apps. I don't know where we would be if we didn't document the apps. You know, all the cool kids document the apps. I'm trying to peer pressure myself into being okay with documenting the apps. Was that the first one? Yeah, okay, so that's the first one. Okay, go ahead and load, man. Google will soon allow you to auto delete. Bang, 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 bang. Wow, the Washington Post didn't know it was going to hound me. Would have found a different source. I would have definitely found a different source. I really wish I was just better at that's blacklisting entire domains. Because anybody who wants me to pay to access news is just crazy. I'm okay with becoming a member and getting like enhanced news or better media with my news, but I'm not just paying for access to news. I mean, I might be a little bit stupid, but I'm not crazy. Energizer gigantic battery phone just ran out of juice. That is such a bad headline. And that's why I'm using that one because it's so bad. It's so bad. I want it to be like bring it out into the sunlight. Make sure everyone sees just how bad that title is. Because there's so much better puns you could have done. You know, I mean, I'm sure you would have, given the normal person, 20 minutes, they would have thought of a better pun. I almost wish this keyboard had one extra button on it. Was Lightbeam free? I don't even know now that I say that out loud. I believe all my apps were free except for the one. Come on, let's see. Lightbeam's free. Opinion Rewards is free. Airtable's free. Endel is free. In-app purchases. That was that one. Okay. 3D apps. SmartNews. Mm-hmm. Mind maps. Any list. Yeah. So only Specky costs money, and it's only $4. $4 is actually a fair price. I remember when we started this show, we were all so tight with money. We were so offended when things cost money. At least some of us. In hindsight, I don't think Steve D or Steve C was as offended as the rest of us when it came to money and apps. Well, documenting everything is easier in one respect. It always has my name on it. So the real question is next week with Mark out, should I literally try to do another app driven show or should I do some kind of like demo driven show? And when I say demo driven show, I don't just mean play a game demo, but is there actual apps that you guys would like to see me run or play with? I will say, they can't be the kind of apps that would interface with my contacts and stuff because, just because I'm stupid enough to, say my phone number live on a show doesn't mean my wife or anybody else is okay with everybody else knowing their information. So it can't be those kinds of apps. And that's one of the advantages to doing game type demos is you don't got to worry about that kind of information being, leaked out on the screen. I'm almost done documenting the apps. Yeah, I just thought, man, I got 4 hours of training tomorrow morning. I will say I'm unusually happy and surprised at the lack of people calling out. Typically, where I work, um, people lose, I don't want to say faith, they lose the drive and determination to keep up stuff once in a while. And this kind of training, you know, literally from now until May 2020. Yes, now until May 2020, once a week training. And I'm really shocked and I'm really impressed that nobody obvious at least has been calling out. Um I will say I have a history of like not calling out for certain stuff. Like we had executive meetings where of course I'm the youngest person in there, least paid person in there. Uh the guy chairing the meeting was a contractor who let in on a secret. He was keeping track of who was attending the meetings, and for 2.5 years straight, uh, I attended every meeting but one, The next closest person missed 15 meetings, some high number. Okay, so now I have the apps documented, the apps pasted, custom thumbnail for the YouTube video. Not public? Oh no, not public. Nextcloud, DDG, website, images, AAA. Okay, it's not a public. It's an unlisted. We're not going to add it to a playlist. 95% done. That's good. Show title Energizer. Energizer Bunny died. Oh my goodness, the rabbit died. Oh man. Okay. Now I'm following you. I'm a little bit slow. T. I'm just a touch slow. Ain't no wisdom there, ghetto. I'm trying to keep up with I'm trying to communicate to both the IRC chat and the YouTube chat, so hopefully you guys don't feel too discombobulated. 58 years in that area. So yes, I think it's very safe to say, Ghetto Geek, you should know what is normal and what is not normal. Yeah, flooding in Detroit. I don't know if I ever heard of that before. Oh, yeah. I will say the same thing, Ghetto Geek. Specky, I thought, was a Puriform application as well. Spelled the same in everything. And I thought they would have gave them a cease and desist or something like that, takedown letter. But it's been in existence for a while. If you take a look at the application's been there for I think a couple years. It's still there. It ain't going nowhere. The version of the application was 5.4.1. This ain't something new. This thing has been around for a while. Yeah, this thing has been around for a while, and they haven't got a takedown notice. So I'm trying to think of being clever, not clickbaity, maybe a little clickbaity, but it's a podcast. It's different. You know, that's how we always cast ourselves as the protagonist in anything in life. So I'm okay with doing clickbaity podcast names, because I'm not doing it to generate revenue. Is my logic. I'm doing it for fun. How can we tie in the Energizer Bunny's death? So maybe like um the rabbit's death is under investigation or something like that. Something like that. We had a 100-year plus flood last spring, flooded part of downtown area and closed several streets. Well, I will say this, Ghetto Geek. I was actually a part of, oh God, I can't remember what it's called now. For like 3 years, I had to go to state meetings, and it was the most boring thing I've ever witnessed in my life. Like, you remember that movie Zootopia, where the sloth at the DMV spoke slower than this? It was like that, but it was about mapping. I can't remember what it was called. I want to say like RSI or something like that. It was an acronym where it's basically talking about ground level topographical maps and emergencies and disasters, and how to prepare for them correctly. And we looked at like all the state office buildings where I worked, which ones were in more danger than less, where should we build our future offices at. And man, it was the most boring thing I've ever seen in my life, is what I want to say. But one thing I learned is 100 years flood does not mean it happens once every 100 years. I literally had to ask the guy like 10 times outside of the meeting, like, "Explain this to me again." 100 years flood is every year you have a 1 out of 100 chance of it happening. He said, "So, if you look at the actual stats, a 100-year flood should happen just less than every 50 years." And he said, "Now, with that said, it's still completely possible to have 200-year floods in 3 or 4 years apart and it not be considered out of the norm." One of the things he said was that they actually propositioned, one of the committees he was on much more than me. They actually tried to proposition, the federal government to change the title, not call it the 100-year flood, not call it the 1,000-year this, but to actually change the format of the namings because they were so misleading, he said. So just don't forget, just because something's called a 100-year flood does not mean it's only gonna happen once every 100 years. He said most of the time, it will happen about every 15-ish years, which, you know, he was much smarter than I. He said because every year it's a 1 in 100 chance of happening. It's kinda like if you have 23 people, and I listened to, How Stuff Works the other day. You take the average 23 people, put them in a room, ask them their birthday. That's the number of people, 23, when you'll start to have a higher than 50% probability of having 2 people with the same birthday. So you take 10 groups of 23 people, you ask them all what their birthday is, you'll get an average of 5 of those groups with at least 2 people having the same birthday, which is kinda crazy because it's 365 days in a year. And no, I can't come to PenguinCon. There's absolutely nothing I've ever heard about PenguinCon that makes me wanna go. Um, but B, I just there's no way I can afford it right now. And if I was able to afford a conference right now, to be honest, it'd be really hard to not go to Linux Fest Northwest. I know that event. I know the guy who runs that event. On some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life, and it's a hardcore Linux event. PenguinCon almost has nothing to do with Linux. PenguinCon is almost a completely PC, politically correct, conference with some Linux, not even Linux, with some computing stuff sprinkled in over top it. It sounds fun, but it doesn't sound like a Linux conference to me. Energizer Bunny dies, Door does solo investigation. That's actually pretty damn crafty there, Bill. Red. Use this. Here, Kim Kardashian undressed. Definitely not doing that, man. No, that's not the title. Yes. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I don't mean to insult it when I say PenguinCon is PC. I don't, and I'm really not trying to insult it all. I'm just saying if going into it, you're aware of it, you could have a hell of a lot of fun at PenguinCon. I know 3 people that go, they swear by the event, but the part that they swear at isn't learning Linux or meeting Linux people or meeting computer people. They enjoy the more opening their eyes on more cultural kind of things, which is cool. But okay, I guess I'm gonna say this. Actually, T should know this. Um, for 2.5 hours today at my job, I got out of my cube, I walked to the other end of the building, I went in the hallway, and I sat in the hallway for 2.5 hours because I don't wanna be around people, and they set up food right outside my cube, and I was almost having a panic attack at the number of people that were standing outside my cube, and I didn't wanna be mean to anybody, and I didn't want to, say anything drastic to anybody. So I literally went into a hallway for just over 2.5 hours and sat on steps waiting, emailing the person, "Can you please just let me know when this is all over?" And I just sat there. And I told him, "Look, I really wish you would have told me that earlier. I would have taken a leave sheet. I feel like I stole money from my job because I did. I wasn't doing work. I was sitting in a hallway waiting for people to get away from my cube because I don't want to be around people that much." So the idea of going to a cultural event isn't something I find comfortable, is what I'll say. I like going to a Linux event, to be honest, because I feel like I at least can participate. I feel like I'm an equal. I feel like, if there's a possibility I'll have some credibility among these people. At work, I feel like I have no credibility. I feel like a lot of people look at me as being a really stupid person who is, like your stereotypical government employee, is what I'll say. You were asked to be on a panel? That's awesome, kiddo. Mm-mm. No, Red, Moose would not like PenguinCon. Moose would actually hate PenguinCon with a passion. Um, Moose didn't want political correctness. She wanted moose correctness. Um, yeah, she was I don't know anybody who could have gotten along with Moose, is what I'll say. I don't think Moose got along with Moose. Okay, let's see how this upload is going. I like uploading this stuff for the Patreon people. Okay, now it says it's done. But let me open up the Patreon page. Patreon should still be logged in. Badang, good. Post, new. Video. I am so blind. Okay. Copy, post title, copy, description. We're going to do a Patreon only early access. The 5th. I try to release everything on Patreon Sunday night, 9 o'clock, same time I try to have the show published, but it seems like every time I try it, it always comes out an hour later. Click done, highlight copy, highlight paste, pause the video, delete the useless stuff in the URL, hit enter, pause the video, just to make sure I didn't delete too much. Come over here, paste. Oh, that is not the correct thumbnail. Why is that? Custom thumbnail. Dang it. Custom thumbnail. Okay. So now edit post, highlight, backspace, X, continue editing. Oh man. Why won't it? Oh, there you go. Bang. Bang, 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 bang. Big money. Ooh. Ooh. Man. Okay, let's try it again. Control C, backspace, X, paste. Ah, big money. Okay. 55901 video dang 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 bang posted to the Patreon. Take me to my new post. Okay, so now I have to edit the audio and we should oh no. I also need to go back into the YouTube studio. I always forget this. Go into the live setting, which now people watching live, if you refresh, oh man. Yeah, okay. I have wrong description in there already. We're gonna leave in the things I've made. Uh, Eric Ardini. Gonna leave his stuff in the top part. We're gonna delete everything beneath that. We're gonna backspace. We're gonna no 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 no. Come over here. Highlight, copy, highlight, click. Yep. Paste, save. Now the YouTube video for the video you guys are watching, if you refresh the page, the description should have all the correct information on it. The one thing I will say that probably is not right is the tags on the other videos. So let me copy that, go back to here. I like having the tags right. It's one of those pet peeves, even though I know it's pointless for a video that I have that's not um, public. I just do it for the Patreon people. Tags, add, paste, badang, update. Yes, stupid. I wouldn't hit save if I didn't understand. What kind of stupid people use YouTube? Oh, wait, sorry. It's too easy. I wished I'd never gone to that diversity thing on Sunday. Yeah, well, it was Moose. I can't blame Moose for trying to push her agenda. If I was in her position, I would try to push my agenda. That's what people do. And don't forget, everybody casts themselves as the protagonist in their own life story. She believes what she's doing is the right thing. It's not like she's purposely trying to be, Moose. I gotta go upstairs and get another drink. And then I gotta edit the audio. Oh joy. Yeah, it could be worse. Give me a couple seconds, guys. While we are waiting for me to come back, how about we uh let me see. Get pocket. Oh no, 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 no. Wrong tab. Get pocket. See what kind of cool things we can find that look cool. Cool. Intel Prism. World of Goo. I wish I would have brought this. World of Goo. If you guys have never checked out World of Goo is a old school game. Literally, it was put out 10 years ago. Um, they just did an update to the game 10 years later. Nobody does that. Nobody updates a game 10 years later without getting more money. So I definitely encourage you guys check out that link. These people are trying to do the right thing to give fans of the game at least a refreshing of some of the stuff. I'll be right back. If you guys are still here, I'll keep the stream going. I like the fact that now I can watch the analytics really easy and the all the different chats really easy. I'll be back. Put this in the trash. I gotta check my 3D printer too. Okay. start the editing process. And once I get the drive mapped, I can share the screen with no problem whatsoever. Some people ask me how the editing process goes. Well, none of it's rocket science, is what I'll say. So let's push that to desktop 3. Load up VirtualBox. Take it easy, ghetto. World of Warships. Oh, I've heard about that one. That sounds like a dangerous game to play because it sounds like it's addictive. Take it easy, man. Loading up my VM. I have all my audio editing software loaded in a virtual machine operating system that has all updates from all software completely blocked. So what I get in the software will never change is the goal. Always be the same thing. So now, there what I do. Okay. View, not full screen. There we go. No whammy, stop. Can't believe I actually hit the right key. Home, Podnutz, F3, 2, 168. Enter special. Yep, I literally called the folder special. What else would I call it? Okay, share screen, share. There's the VM, audio, raw, convert. I did not copy it there yet. How did I not copy it there yet? I swear that was one of the first things I did. So let's come back here, special, audio, raw, convert. Huh. Guess where was the first thing I did? Guess not. F5, there it is. 36. First go to the output, nothing there. Good. Come back to the incoming. I'm going to leave those there because I got to edit that later. That had a boo-boo in the middle of it. The mini PC show from last night. Okay. Let this load. We have to edit out any high points. And then we have to normalize the data or compress the data. Yeah. All my workflow is in a VM, so I never have to worry about something breaking. It will technically always work. This should be my noise. Yeah, this is just the static from the HVAC running in the background. I isolate that. I do noise removal. I hit get noise profile. I then highlight everything, get noise profile, remove noise. So now it's taking that background hiss that is there whenever the AC unit's on and it gets rid of it. Otherwise, with my noise gate on, you only hear the noise when I'm talking, but a split second when I'm done talking or a break in talking like that, you'll actually hear the hiss in the background if you notice, or if you have a sensitive setup or really good ears, or if you headphones in a completely quiet environment. If you're like driving down the street in a car, you'll never hear it either way. So the goal is to make it so both parties, the expert sitting there with his, $3,000 headphones on, or the guy driving down the street in his car, will get a like experience. I don't expect either one of them to think I'm the best audio editor ever. But at the same token, I don't want either one of them to think this guy's horrible. Now this is a high point over here, the very beginning. What a surprise, the very beginning. So I got to definitely tone this down just a touch. My magic number is always negative 4.4. I don't know why. Negative 4.4. Zoom out. Looks much more normal. Okay. So now, was this something I needed to delete? What is this? What- Okay, we can delete this. This is where the screen was showing the wrong stuff. Bam, right there. Bang, right there. That to definitely, at least that, we're going to delete. Now what's that? Bang, bang, bang. Seamless. Oh man, I'm so good. No, I just got lucky. Okay. That looks right. Now we're going to do a Dyson compression. These are my magic numbers. Negative 18, default 1 and 1. So negative 18.25, 1 and 1. This is going to take my lower volume stuff and my higher volume stuff, make the lower volume stuff closer to the higher volume stuff, and make the higher volume stuff closer to the lower volume stuff. So there's less extremes. The low isn't as low volume, and the high is not as high volume. Can I put that on the big screen? What big screen? It's not on the screen? Did I mess up again? I did mess up again. Yeah, sorry. There it is. But unfortunately, the blue is going to be green screened out of existence because that's the way I roll. And voila. See now, if I hit Control Z, that's how the video looked. Then if I hit Control Y, is it? Redo, Control Shift Z. Hit Control Shift Z. That's how it looks now. That's how it used to look. That's how it looks now. This is much better. Now, the last thing I do is I take all this in the beginning, amplify negative 4.4, enter. Then after that, I hit Control R to redo the same thing. It reduces it more. Control R, redo the same thing. Control R, reduce the same thing. Just to be sure that there is absolutely, unequivocally no audio in the beginning of this file. So no matter what I do, this audio will never, ever come into existence. 'Cause if any of that beginning stuff ever comes into existence, it's going to sound bad and it's going to sound unprofessional. Okay. I'm sure it's all gone now. So now click Control A, show me everything. Looks fine. File export to the incoming. Change the type to OGG. AAA. Yes. And this is with an 8-year-old laptop with 16 gigs of RAM, an hour, 10-minute plus long audio file. I remember when I first started podcasting, this would take over a half an hour to do on my old computer, where now it's like a minute and a half. If I had a modern day i7, this would be like a 30-second ordeal, 30-second quote unquote ordeal. Yeah, so even though it takes me 15, 20 minutes, whatever, to audio edit a file, it only takes that long because I have such an old computer. There's a Lenovo T430. They stopped selling these, I want to say in 2012. It might have been 2011. I believe they started selling them in 2008. And I do have the RAM completely maxed out, 16 gigs of RAM. More RAM, better is my logic. It always starts to go a little bit slower here when it hits around 50 to 60%. Then it speeds back up again. I don't know why. But I do know two guys now. All they do is edit podcasts for money. And I don't want to say I'm shocked, but I'm really kind of shocked that somebody would pay for editing. As long as you don't have completely garbage audio coming in or out, there's not a lot of work involved. Now I load up my Q Tractor. This is like my organizer of audio where I have my intro sound, intro music, and then at the very end we have supposed to have outro. Yeah, yeah, there you go. Outro sounds, outro music, all that kind of thing. But I messed up. I have to first zoom in really tight. I like having everything start at exactly the same spot. Let's come over here, delete that, jump back to that, reload my file, add file, bang, add it right there. So it's the exact same spot. Now I got to zoom back out because there was all that empty space in the very beginning. Click, click, zoom. Oh, 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 oh. Zoom in nice and tight. That's plenty. Keyboard combination, delete. Now I got to drag this over. Yeah, that's going to take a while. Should have zoomed out first. Halfway there. Oh, we're going to be there any second now. Oh, there you go. Oh, we're there. Okay. Bang. So now this is going to, audio is going to start at the exact same time as the goal. Okay, that's fine. Let's now check the audio level. Unfortunately, you won't be able to hear this. I'm going to boost it up just a touch. Let's go to this end part. This should be the actual end. Bang. Zoom in. Cut. I need to find where I start to do the promo, which I believe is right here, possibly. Okay, so we're going to zoom in again. Delete. We're going to cut that. Okay, now let's see. This should be. Yep, that should be right. Okay. This week on Android App Addicts. Pause, pause, pause. That's fine by me. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually clip it there. Move this over. Clip it there. Delete that. Move it over here. Clip it there. Move it over there. Clip it there. Delete. Come here. Clip it there. Delete that. So now this, I don't know of a way to merge. If there's a way to merge, I don't know how to do it. We're gonna highlight all them. We're gonna zoom back out this time just so it's quicker. Drag it all the way over. Go like that. Control A, unselect, unselect, unselect. Drag that to about there. Oh, that was too easy. Okay, now come all the way out here. We're gonna use the same uh ending advertisement for now, just because. Bang. And I'm done editing. Edit, export. So now this is the thing where there's no progress meter. So I took the audio, cut the beginning, lined it up so it's at the same spot, checked the level, make sure it was okay. Because of my compression, I saw how it was unbelievably even from beginning to end the show. There wasn't very many peaks. I felt confident about the level. I then cut the end where I started, where I said, "Thank you for coming out next week on Android App X." Bang. Cut it right there. Then I went and I found the beginning promo, cut, 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 organized it, dragged it to the very beginning, Control A, selected everything, deselected that beginning intro, slid everything so it matched up right, then went to the very end, selected the outro music, the outro ad, and the outro Steve Cherubino. And I basically soft lined it up with that so you can see that. And then now I'm just exporting. And it might not be right, but what I'm gonna do is export it and then load it in Audacity again because there's still one more thing I have to do, or two more things I have to do. And when I open it up um in Audacity, I'm gonna see the waveform, and the form shouldn't be insanely up and down. It should be pretty consistent, but it should also pretty consistently filling up the waveform. It should be a lot towards the edges, where here you see it's a lot towards the middle. There's not a lot towards the edges at all. And that's okay. This is the beginning audio. I want the beginning audio to be amplified to be correct because I already minimized the background noise, the hiss, all that kind of stuff. So when I amplify the rest of the noise, I'm not also amplifying the hiss. So when I amplify my voice, it's going to sound like a big booming voice, like Leo Laporte does, like real professionals do. But I'm not going to also amplify the hiss. And that's like the dirty secret. You first get rid of the hiss, then you can amplify, and everything sounds much better. 2 hours to lock down a building before they lose locks and alarms. That's not good. That's not good. Yeah, there's all kinds of flooding going around in the Midwest right now, which is, I don't remember many Aprils them talking about flooding being an issue. I will say that. Of course, I have a very bad memory. I could be mistaken, but I don't remember it. Um, I really wish this process had a progress meter. This is one of the only processes I deal with in post production where there's no progress. Oh, there you go. It just randomly disappears. And every now and then when that disappears, my voice goes crazy. So if my voice is going crazy right now, sorry. Now I load up that output file, and if it's not consistently loud, that's pretty consistently loud. If it's not consistently loud, I go and I redo it. But you can see there's gaps where I shut up. There's gaps all over. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, at least 13 different little gaps. Where if I zoom in, like right here, you'll see there's like silent spots. There's definitely bigger ones, like right here, silent spots. That's not cool. If I'm stupid and I don't know what I'm doing, I'll sit there and go through each part, listen to it, and then tighten up each one of the silence parts to make them smaller. But that's what stupid people do. I come into effects, come down to truncate silence. Because this is a WAV file, it seems like I have the least amount of issues with it. Whenever I do this with an OGG file or an MP3 file or something else, I will randomly have weird issues occur. When I do this to a WAV file, I've never had an issue ever before. Uh, Minimum silence duration 200 milliseconds, maximum 1000 milliseconds. So if it's any time more than 1000 milliseconds, it will then compress it and make it shorter length of time of a millisecond. And the threshold is negative 40 dB, which is really low. I ain't got to worry with that. Right now, it's an hour, 14 minutes, and 21 seconds. Down here, you can see that the total length, 1 hour, 14 minute, 21 seconds. Hit OK. And I'm going to guess this is going to be just over an hour when it's done. Maybe 50 minutes when it's done. Which is one of the reasons why I don't do timestamps. I don't time code anything in the show because anytime I record during the show would be completely useless and be thrown away because the times will never match up. And what people don't understand whenever they time code their podcast is when you have an advanced podcast player that gets rid of silence, all of their time codes are completely pointless and they don't mean anything. The only person they mean anything to are the people that listen to in a web browser on a desktop or laptop. 1 hour 5, definitely longer than I thought it was gonna be, okay? But look how full that waveform is. There's only a couple little dips here and there every now and then, but for the most part, it's pretty full, except the very beginning, which is actually the intro music. This is actually the "Welcome to Podnutz" and the actual theme song. But when you listen to that theme song, it sounds loud, and it's because it's covering a broader spectrum of audio at the same time. It's Steve tried to explain it to me once. I don't understand it. But we're good now. So now we can do a file, export, uh, file. Oh, there it is. Export. We're going to export it to the output folder and we're going to change it to waveform, which is the most like pure form of audio you can get. Yes, FLAC. Yes, all these other formats. But PCM, aka waveform, was the first. So it's I consider to be the most pure form of audio you can get. And huge, 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 huge. Yeah, I did hear there was snow in the Midwest this weekend. That's crazy. Okay, that's done. Quit. No, I'm not going to save. 750 meg was the original file. The new one was 630 meg. So I lost that much out of just getting rid of the empty space. Now we're going to retranscode it into the actual proper form, which is MP3. Lame is the encoder. Dash M space M is for true mono mode. Dash B96 is for 96 bit rate, which is very low, but it's fine for spoken word. Dash dash resample 44100. That's standard audio resample. It's not bit rate. It's I can't remember what that is, but it's 44 100, which is like normal CD quality. And then the incoming file, Podnutz template slash outgoing slash AAA wave, output file, Podnutz template, outgoing slash AAA 536 MP3, which is right there, which is going to be around 50 to 60 megs. Worst case scenario. And I like that this one has a very fancy progress meter, even though it's a command line application. It's hard to beat that. And it's done. and it's 45 megs. I think I said something close to that. Copy, come back here. There you go. Paste over the network out of the audio editing virtual machine back to my real desktop, where I put the ID3 tags on it, the image artwork, and post it. I posted to the Patreon people right now. They can download the fully edited podcast tonight. And for the normal public facing Podnutz.com RSS feeds, they'll be able to download it Sunday night. Bag. Now I delete this. I'm actually going to go back and I'm going to delete that as well. I don't need it. I'm going to leave all that other stuff because I still need to do it. Stop sharing. F1. I'm turning orange. I'm turning orange. I'm turning orange. Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to head out now. I got to go to the bathroom and finish posting, finish editing. Thank you guys for coming out. Good talk to you, Red. Ghetto Geek. T. All you guys take it easy.